We're here with Caitlin Hunter, art sculpture student extraordinaire, and we did an interview. Is there a process or ritual you go through before you begin creating, or do you just wing it?
I feel like I'm a very material-oriented artist, and finding my materials and putting them together for me is a ritual, because I usually start with a very rough form or idea, and slowly I just kind of keep wrapping it in materials and layers and layers and layers, and the idea and what I'm making kind of forms as I make what I'm making.
Caitlin, what inspires you? Do you use that inspiration directly to create a piece of art, or do you channel towards something you're already working on?
I'm very inspired by my peers and the people around me. I think I'm always kind of surrounded by really creative people, and I think collectively it makes a really good energy. I'm also inspired by fantasy genres. I read a lot of fantasy books. I watch a lot of anime. So that's the type of thing that inspires me.
Do you create because of a need to create, or is it a series of events that brought you to the habit of making?
I feel like it's a little bit of both, but mostly I create because I feel I need to. When I'm working on a project, I feel like I just have this thing that's inside of me, and I need to slowly draw it out into the physical world.
Caitlin, are you ever satisfied with your work? If you are satisfied with your work, how do you know you're done?
I feel like when I'm working on a project, I know it's done when it feels done. And I wouldn't say I'm satisfied or unsatisfied with the overall outcome, but normally once I finish a project, I'm already in the mindset of thinking of what else I'm gonna do. So it's done and it's out there, and I just want to focus on the next thing.
What are your work habits? Be specific.
My work habits. Usually I like to say I draw, but I'm really horrible at keeping a sketchbook. The first thing I do is go find materials. I usually make a beeline for the hot glue, spray paint, and plaster. I take an inventory of what I have and what I think I need to get. Then it's usually working like crazy. When I work, I usually work all at once or not at all. So I'll stay up all night working on a project and then not work on it for 2 weeks, and then I'll work on it straight, and it's kind of a roller coaster of ups and downs. And that's my process, or my work habits.
Do you find yourself more attracted to work that is not like your own, or work that has similarities to yours?
I feel like I'm definitely more attracted to work that is unlike my own. For example, I really like Hannah DeLong's work. I feel like, especially in that type of work, there's a calmness and a serenity that I can't find within myself and I can't make in my artwork. So it's nice to be able to go visit other people's work and find something that I can't physically create or find in myself.
Caitlin, as an artist, what do you feel the internet has done for you, both on a positive and negative sense?
Well, I waste all my time on Facebook. No. There are definitely ups and downs. I think we live in a really image-based society, so it's really easy to see what everyone else in the world is making for art, which can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. But I think it's really good for networking. A lot of my friends can post pictures of their work online via Facebook or DeviantArt, which is a free online art gallery. So it's really good to see not necessarily professional art, but what other people your age and what other students are making, and it's really inspiring.
What causes artistic blocks, and what do you do to solve them?
I feel like just running out of steam causes artistic block. I feel like when I work on a project, I need to be 100% emotionally invested in it. And if I can't be, then it's not gonna come out the way I want it to. So usually just being tired, having like finished projects, and just being on a down period causes artistic block. And if I feel this way, I usually try to sleep, watch some good movies, listen to some new music, draw, talk to some fun people. That's usually what I do.
Do you feel an art object's power is diminished or changed by having an assistant actually do the physical production?
I have this is something I've thought about a lot. I used to be very anti help when it comes to my artwork, but having done a few larger projects recently, I think for me it depends on the people. I could never have a bunch of people I don't know come in and help me with my artwork. But when my friends or my siblings or my mom come in and help me, and it's more of this one-on-one experience where this person I have an emotional attachment with or a relationship with, I feel like it adds to the experience and it makes the piece better, which I don't think would be the case if it was just kind of this little cherub fairy that magically helped me. But I think if it's someone who you know, who can help you with the art, it adds to the experience of the making process and can make the overall project better.
So Caitlin, what kind of experience would you like people to walk away with after viewing your work?
I feel like I like the idea of people walking into my work more than I like them walking away from it. I feel like good art should be like a really good book or the rabbit hole in Alice in Wonderland, and when you view it, it should take you to this new place, both physically and emotionally. And ideally, I want people to look at my work and be overwhelmed with this world that's different and new and something they haven't maybe experienced before.
What type of materials do you like to work with and why?
I think my favorite materials are plaster and hot glue, and I'm currently really interested in fabric. I'm really interested in structures and shapes that are biomorphic and look like one continuous shape, and you're not really sure where one aspect of the piece starts and where the other ends. The reason why I really like plaster is you can have an idea and it can float away, but if you pour plaster on it, it's grounded and it's not going anywhere, and it brings a sense of validity and realness to something that otherwise wouldn't have existed, and for me makes it feel grounded.
So Caitlin, tell me a little bit about the toe.
The toe. Well, I've always been interested in human limbs, especially when I was in high school. I've always liked the idea of representing the human form without the whole person, and just adding maybe one limb or two really adds a sense of humanity to something that otherwise wouldn't have it. But I've always liked hands. I have a hand tattooed to my foot. But when I was in math class, I would always draw these little cartoons of alien toe monsters, and it's something I really thought a lot about. And then as I got older and progressed into college, it's something that kept cropping up in my other work, and just something I really enjoy making. I really enjoy making toes in ceramics and in printmaking and other various art medias. When I was younger, I read scary stories to tell in the dark, and one of the stories is, "Where is my toe?" And it's about this very scary little boy who finds a toe in a hill and takes it home, and him and his family eat it for dinner, and then are haunted by this monster asking for his toe. And there's this image of this toe sticking out from the ground, and it was my favorite book when I was in elementary school, so I think it's just always something that stayed with me.
Do you think that your childhood affects how you work and where you get some of your ideas?
Definitely. I feel like, I mean, two of my sisters are artists as well, and my mom is just kind of this crazy creative woman, and I feel like I've always been in the living situation where I could be as creative and silly as I want, and having that freedom has allowed me to make the things I make.
So Caitlin, as an advanced sculpture student, can you give any advice to the new students coming up to join the advanced levels?
If I were to give advice to incoming students, I would say, you know, just have as much confidence in your abilities and in your process as you can muster up. I know it's really hard not to be insecure. You know, if artists are good at anything, they're good at being insecure about their self and their work, but really trust your process. And even if it's weird and silly, you know, keep doing what you're doing. You know, a lot of people have told me that hot glue is not a medium, and that I'm too messy and too big and too loud. My work, not me. But, you know, that's what I enjoy doing. And, you know, if you just push through and keep doing what you love to do, it'll show, and you'll have rockin' art. And I think as long as you're happy doing what you're doing, that's all that matters.
Screwing. I'm apparently very bad at it. These are all failed screws. Screws that I tried to screw in my wood, but would not screw in. As you see, there's screws everywhere. Everywhere. Look! One there. And there. All over the floor. All over the floor. Hey.